Hey guys, go your plus back town more to your day. And I mean, the last video I made was a mock draft. The reason I made it so early or so late, I guess, was because I just didn't. Like, there's not a good reason. So I'm making this one despite already have made one 2 weeks ago because I was supposed to make that one after week 4, but I only made it after like week 6. But I still have to do the mid-season one, which is why I'm doing this one. So it's a little bit weird, but it doesn't matter. Next one I'll do the next one after like week 12 or something. But I did want to make another mock draft. I do like making them a lot. They're pretty popular, and there's a lot that has changed. How do you? Okay, yeah. As you can see here now, the Panthers are the worst team in the league. Jaguars, Browns, and Patriots, who are all like in the bottom three, are now all outside of it. So it's a completely different draft order. It's going to change things up a lot, and it makes it even more complicated for the Panthers because they put Bryce Young back in. Do they pick QB? Is the question. It's a really hard question to answer. It's just really hard. I don't really know. This is a hard first pick because you see Travis Hunter and you're like, is there any way they don't pick him? And honestly, it's just there's no way to predict if the Panthers are gonna be good or even decent. Like if Bryce Young gets them the 6 wins, maybe they'll keep Bryce Young. But there's just no way to pick that. I don't think any of the QBs right now are good enough for you to pick them over Travis Hunter though. So I'm gonna reluctantly pick Hunter for the first pick. Next, we got the Titans, and they are in a spot where they pretty much can do whatever. Their team is terrible. But what I would say is that their defense has been pretty good until the Lions game, so they probably don't go on the defensive side. Um, I don't think they go QB either, even though Will Levis is something else. He's just something else. There's no other way to describe it. I think they traded DeAndre Hopkins. They clearly don't care about him anymore. They didn't get the chance to get Travis Hunter. Do they pick receiver? I mean, probably. I don't think you pick QB here either. I mean, I would probably go with McMillan. Next we have the Patriots, and they've got a lot of holes as well. Who's their quarterback? Drake May. Okay, and I'm to make sure they didn't need one. They could definitely use offensive line, and honestly, I think they will go offensive line. Um, so it's between Will Campbell or Kelvin Banks, who seems to have dropped a little bit after his game against Georgia. So I think the clear pick here is Will Campbell. Hasn't allowed a sack all year. I don't think any of the LSU offensive linemen have. So that'll lead to the Jets pick. Our first three are Hunter, McMillan, and Campbell. Jets, I mean, this is something else, man. They have been absolutely terrible. Um, they have the receiver core to do it. I don't really know what's going on there. They completely outplayed the Patriots on offense and still lost. What do you do if you're the Jets, man? I really don't know. Do you even keep Rodgers? I don't think you can. I just don't think you can keep Aaron Rodgers around. He got your coach fired. I think the new coach that comes in is gonna want a quarterback. I think you see it's Milrow, Ward, or Sanders here, and they're all great. But I think when the combine comes around, they're going to be even more in love with Sanders. So despite him being pretty low on the rankings, I still think Sanders is the first QB off the board at this point, which leads us to the Jaguars, who've been doing a little bit better, but they still lost to the Packers, still have a pretty bad record. Um, do you go best player available if you're the Jaguars? Well, no, I don't think you go Mason Graham. I do think you go Will Johnson. Um, it's interesting because I don't think either side of their team is very, very good this year, but I think corner's definitely the weakest spot, which leads us to the Saints. The Saints' problem, their offense is terrible. Defense isn't as bad, but their offense is absolutely atrocious. Cameron Jordan hasn't been the same. They lost David Aliyamata to the Falcons a couple years ago, which I think it was just last year actually. If you're the Saints, you can't really. I don't think you can pick receiver. You don't pick. I don't think you pick O line. I don't think you pick anything on the offensive side, which is weird to say, unless you pick QB. But I don't think they're going to give up on Derek Carr yet. I think I'm gonna go with Mason Graham, and I think Saints fans are probably tired of picking D line, but I think that's a really good player that you're getting. Even though Michigan hasn't been that great, you go to pick Cam Grant, though. That's not a bad pick either. If you're the Raiders and you don't go QB, you're tripping. All right. If you don't pick quarterback, you're going crazy. You have Brock Bowers, who's been absolutely insane this year. There's no way you don't try to get him a quarterback. I want to go Cam Ward. I might sound like an Alabama hater, but listen, man, Milrow is too mistake heavy, and nowadays where a lot of QBs can throw well if like just arm strength wise and running. A lot of QBs are mobile. I don't think that makes him special, and that's crazy. But he's really good when he can be. But you can't watch him and then say you think he deserves to be the first QB or even second QB off the board. He did great against Georgia. I think that's a Georgia thing. I think Georgia just can't play Alabama. Right now, I'm gonna go Cam Ward. He's in the Heisman race. I don't think Milrow is. But the Browns, I mean, if you're the Browns, you're happy with how this draft is gone. I mean, Milrow fell right into your lap. You probably convinced yourself that he's the best QB in this draft. I mean, that's three QBs in the top eight, right? Yeah, we got Sanders at 4, Ward at 7, Milroy at 8. It's so weird not to see the Falcons in the top 10. Anyway, Dolphins to pick. Dolphins have been absolutely garbage. Their offense was just non-existent when Tua was gone. It was actually sad. And I think if you don't pick offensive line, you're kind of tripping because that man's getting abused out there. Now, do you still pick Calvin Banks? I don't think one bad game is going to prevent you from picking one of the clearest best tackles in the country. I just don't think it does. And then that leads to the Giants who are thinking, do you pick quarterback? I mean, there's not one good enough to be worth a pick. That's the thing. If you were a little bit worse, you could have gotten Milrow, Warder, Sanders maybe. But sadly for them, they're at this point at least they're not bad enough to be in the top three QBs, and none of the other quarterbacks are good enough to pick in the top 10. So you've got to go somewhere else. And I don't, I don't think you're scared of picking receiver. I don't think you are because Neighbors is good. Slayton is never going to be on that next level. We know he isn't. It's too late. But do you pick Ashton Genty? I don't think you do. And it's crazy because they were one of the teams who picked running back earlier, but I don't think they're going to do it here. I don't think the Giants are going to pick a running back in this position. I think they're going to stick to receiver, and I think they're going to pick Luther Burden. I think I had Burden going way earlier than this last time, but he fell. Not many teams are looking for a receiver this early in the draft, which moves to the Bengals, which this says they need receiver. Uh, I don't think the Bengals would pick receiver. They have Trey Hendrickson on the line. He's pretty dang good. You don't pick running back. You kind of gotta go for the defensive side. And if you're watching what Jesse Bates is doing with the Falcons right now, and you see that you have a chance to do that same thing with Malachi Starks, I think you do take it, which leads to still Isaiah Bond still being on the board to this point. Which leads to the Rams, which I think they could be good. I had them going 8 and 9. I think that's still on the table. Which you probably don't want to go in 8 and 9. If you know you're going to miss the playoffs, you'd rather tank. But of course, they're going to keep fighting. The Rams are such a weird team. I don't think you pick offense. I think you once again fight for that Aaron Donald replacement, and I think Kenneth Grant, who's still on the board, is pretty much impossible not to select here. Another Michigan defender, which just proves to you how terrible their offense is, by the way. They lost 7-21 to Illinois. And then the Cowboys, I mean, it's Ashton Genty. You're you're thanking God that he fell to 13. Because since you've been losing so much, which you will lose next week again to the Falcons, hopefully, you are in prime position to pick that running back because I had the Giants pass on him. Which maybe you don't think they would, but I don't think the Giants would go running back. Next, the Colts, which are just, I mean, they're gonna keep fighting to keep Anthony Richardson afloat, but he hasn't been great. The receiver core's been doing pretty well. Josh Downs has kind of appeared that he's 3 touchdowns and isn't great, but it's not terrible. Of course, it says they need tight end. They're not picking tight end in the first round. They could definitely use some secondary help. They say safety here. There's no safety. Malachi Starks just got picked. You probably go Benjamin Morris now Notre Dame here, but you definitely could go Kevin Winston. I just don't think a safety's who's not Malachi Starks is going as early. I don't even know if Malachi Stark is going to be a top 15 player, but we will go. Well, we'll do that. We'll go Morrison. Bucks are really happy with how this draft is going. They have two edge rushers to pick from: Nick Scourton and LT Overton out of Alabama. And then Anthony Carter down here. I actually might go there. I think Michael Williams is probably gonna fall a little bit farther. But if you're the Bucks, you're really happy with how this draft has unfolded. I think you do go Abdul Carter out of Penn State, and I accidentally clicked that again. He actually has a 79.5 grade. That's pretty good. He already has 4 sacks, dude. He's It's because you see edge rushers get picked even if they don't put on a lot of stats. Because edge rusher is kind of a position that you watch for not really potential. Like of course you have to produce, but like you're not going to pick a 12 sack guy over an 8 sack guy just because he had more sacks. Not really how the draft works. And I think y'all probably know that. Seahawks. No one really talks about their D line, but they did pretty good against the Falcons. Their offenses should be elite. I don't think we can pick anything there. Maybe O line. Maybe bump up the D line. You can really go any position on defense just for depth at this point. Not really depth, but just to add another star onto that side. I think I'm gonna go Nick Skelton. Not saying that just are terrible or anything, but you definitely I'm taking the young player there if I'm Seattle. 49ers has been interesting. They don't need wide receiver. They don't need running back. They don't need offensive line. They don't need QB, which once again makes you think they probably gotta go defense. But I mean, this team is just so good. You know what? I'm gonna change my mind. I'm gonna go Cameron Williams. I'm gonna go offensive tackle for the 49ers. Which leaves the Bears. Because listen, man, when people think the Bears are gonna be good this year, I think Adam Rank has them winning 12 games. Insane. I never publicly said that that was stupid, but I do think it was stupid because the lines on both sides are absolutely terrible. They still have failed to really address it, and I mean, honestly, they probably wished that Cameron Williams was not picked by the 49ers earlier, but you're probably not too mad over it. I mean, you've got to fix that defense, man. You got to go LTO. You've got to fix that defense. It's not good at all. Next, the Cardinals. And this has been an interesting team this year. It's been fun to watch. Kyler Murray's been great. Probably want more pass protection for him. But I gotta go Isaiah Brown. And it's not that receiver core is terrible, but it's the Marvin Harrison show. And if you get Murray more weapons, I think you're doing a good thing. So we're gonna go Isaiah Brown here. One of the fastest, maybe I think he is the fastest receiver in this class, actually. Not even maybe. I think he just is. At least to the Chargers, Herbert needs offensive line. He just needs it. He absolutely needs it. It's a must draft for the Chargers. And the best player available right now is Ariante Esri, which is a name, and he's getting drafted. And we finally get to the best team in the NFL, the Atlanta Falcons. Last time I had them pick Jalen Walker, who right now is pretty low on this board despite having a breakout performance against Texas. Okay, because on the other board he was like ranked 30th or something. But in this one, Michael Williams does not go to the Saints early on and instead falls all the way to 21. And I think the Falcons pick the Georgia player. I know I have this happening every year. I always have the Falcons finding a way to pick a Georgia player, but I think this one actually just makes sense. At this point, the Falcons don't pick defensive line in this draft. They're just trying to lose. So I'm assuming that that's what they will do. Broncos. Defense is amazing. Offense could use some work. Get Bo Nix some help. Get him Amika Egbuka. Sutton's amazing. Judy, is he even on the Broncos? I don't think it matters. That leads us to the Ravens, who have been an interesting team. I've seen some very poor blocking for the Ravens, and it's weird because I'm pretty sure offensive line is not bad, but they probably could use some help there. But Siobhan Revel, Kevin Winston, both still on the board. Their deep play defense could definitely use some help after what happened to the Browns. Let's go, Revel. He's out for the rest of the season, but we know the talent's there. He's from the ECU Pirates, who I'm using in my college football dynasty, which is it's going places. Maybe not good places, but it's going places. Eagles. It's probably either help on the offensive line or front seven, because I've heard their edge rushers have not been good. I've heard their linebackers have not been good. Probably go Jack Sawyer here out of Ohio State. I think that's what they will go with. Steelers. They could use help with George Pickens. Defense probably just isn't the pick here. Maybe you go tight end, but I don't think you do. Fire me with Washington. I mean, it's a hard pick here. James Pierce is still on the board. I mean, but you just I think if you're the Steelers, you just gotta pick best receiver available because they've been picking corner for the last few years. Yeah, that's what we're gonna go. If we're gonna go, I want to pick Colson Loveland to the Steelers, but I don't think it makes sense. Let's go with Ayomanor, which leads to the Vikings, and this says running back, offensive guard, cornerback. You know, I'm gonna go Kevin Winston. They got rid of USC, and he's not panned out for the Vikings, former Georgia Bulldog. And that brings us to the Bills, who they say needs defensive help. Josh Allen has an amazing year. Keon Coleman's been doing well for him. Dawson Knox is still good. Yeah, defense is probably what they go for. I mean, Ed Oliver, I don't think he's been good. I don't know if he's ever went to the next level truly. Let's go with how about Deion Walker out of Kentucky? One of the most physical teams in the SEC. I hear that every year. Why not? It's just an early mock draft. No one's going to kill me for making a pick they disagree with. I don't think. Packers. Jordan Love's amazing. It's not if he wants to be, and so I don't think you pick offensive tackle. It's not really. Well, there's Josh Simmons if you want to go there. Uh, I want to draft this tight end somebody, but they have Josh Jacobs. They don't need Crenshaw and Judkins. Let's go with. They lost Campbell, right? I think linebacker could be here. Let's replace him with the other Campbell, Jahad Campbell of Alabama, which leads to the Commanders, who have been surprisingly good this year. I don't know how many wins I had them getting. It wasn't a lot, but they need offensive tackle, edge, and cornerback. Uh, screw it. Let's go Loveland. I don't care. I don't care what y'all say. We're going to tie down Michigan. Texans. They say running back. I don't think they would pick running back. I think they'd probably pick defense if you're the Texans. Let's go with Denzel Burke. Let's go Burke out of Ohio State. Wasn't he in the mock drafts last year? What happened to him? Next are the Lions. This says offensive line, defensive line. Let's go. I think the Lions are the type of just pick a linebacker no matter what happens. They already picked Jake Campbell. They still have a kind of an open spot there. Let's go Danny Stutzman out of Oklahoma. And the final pick is the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't think they're picking running back. I don't think I agree with that. Well, when you're kind of at the end of the draft, it doesn't really matter. You won the Super Bowl, assuming you picked 32. Let's go with Josh Simmons out of Ohio State, and that will end my second mock draft of the season. No, I don't care about your ad. No, I don't care about your ad. And there it is. I don't know why you want to check a screenshot, but this is it. Falcons pick Michael Williams. Definitely the best pick of the draft, obviously. The Falcons made it. But I hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys next time. Adios.